let's talk about a totally different way to solve your biggest problems. Seriously, what if I told you the secret isn't about working harder or stressing more? It's about tapping into this automatic system you already have, one that does all the heavy lifting for you, completely stress-free. Does this feel familiar? That constant nagging pressure to have every single answer, like right now? In our world, it's relentless and it can feel pretty crushing. But what if there's a much, much better way to operate? I know, it sounds kind of crazy, right? Counterintuitive even. But the big idea we're going to unpack is that the best way to crack those really tough problems is to consciously let them go. Yeah, you heard me. Let's get into exactly how that works. Okay, so first things first, to really get a handle on the solution, we've got to understand the problem. And let's be honest, we're all living in what you could call the age of stress. Now, I love this quote from Abraham Lincoln. It's all about determination, right? But here's the thing. In our world today, that same determination gets all tangled up with this massive, overwhelming stress that actually works against us. Just look at this. Back in 1960, the guy who came up with this whole concept was already calling it the age of stress. But what he called stress back then, well, that's like a quiet Sunday afternoon compared to what we're dealing with today. The pressure has gone through the roof. And this right here is why. We've got this constant noise from technology, less backup at work, way more demands at home, and pretty much zero downtime to just recover. This isn't just in your head. It's the reality we're all in, which makes figuring this stuff out more important than ever. So that brings us to a really crucial question. If the pressure's so much higher now, shouldn't we just, push back harder? Well, let's look at why that strategy is basically doomed to fail. I mean, this is what we're all told, right? The whole hustle culture mantra. Just apply more willpower, more focus, more brute mental force, and you'll get there. But what if that's the very thing that's tripping us up? Okay, think about this for a second. Your conscious mind, the part of you that's actively trying so hard, can't even begin to compute the thousands of tiny calculations it takes to do something as simple as picking up a pencil. Your body just does it automatically. It's a huge clue that we're using the wrong tool for our biggest challenges. And believe it or not, this is not some new idea. We're talking way back in 1899, when the famous psychologist William James was saying the same thing. He saw that people were getting too tense, too anxious, and that the real secret was to just unclamp the machinery and let it do its thing. So, if our conscious mind isn't the real problem solver, then what is? Well, it's time to introduce you to your built-in secret weapon, your automatic success mechanism. This is the big idea right here. Think of it like a guidance system that's already installed in your brain. It's like a self-correcting torpedo that automatically steers itself toward whatever target you give it. Your job isn't to steer it. It's just to define the target and let it go. And get this, look at the features. It has unlimited capacity, which means you can't burn it out. It works underground in your subconscious while you're busy doing other things. It's completely stress-free. And it's wildly creative, able to see connections your conscious mind would totally miss. All right, so the million-dollar question, how do we actually turn this thing on? How do we use it? Let's get into the practical, step-by-step method. The philosopher Bertrand Russell had this process nailed. He wouldn't sit there for months worrying about a tough subject. No, he would think about it really, really hard for a short period, then basically give his mind an order to work on it in the background. And when he came back to it later, the work was done. So here's the formula, step by step. Number 1 is intense focus. You can't be lazy here. You have to really dive in, gather all the info, and think hard about the problem. This is like loading the software. Then, step 2, complete release. This is the hardest part. You have to literally turn the problem over and stop thinking about it. Go do something else. And finally, step 3 is relaxed reception. The answer will pop into your head when you least expect it, when you're in the shower, driving, or just waking up. Let me give you a perfect, real-world example of this under insane pressure. The author Napoleon Hill had just finished his masterpiece, but he had no title. With a 24-hour deadline looming, his publisher came up with his own, truly terrible suggestion. Use your noodle to get the boodle. Can you even imagine? One of the most important self-help books ever written almost had that title. Hill, as you can guess, was freaking out. So after trying to force a new title, trying to think his way out of it, and just failing miserably, he gave up. He just let it go, turned it over, and took a nap. And when he woke up, boom, there it was. The most amazing part? His mechanism didn't just invent it out of nowhere. It simply tweaked the publisher's awful idea. Noodle became think, and Boodle became grow rich. It's a perfect illustration of how this works. So, what does this all mean for you in your life? Well, that brings us to the final and I think most exciting part, unlocking the inner genius that every single one of us has. Look, this single biggest mistake people make is thinking that this is some special gift reserved for artists or scientists or inventors. That is just flat out wrong. This is a basic human function, like breathing. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're an entrepreneur figuring out a business problem, a teacher planning a lesson, a cook creating a recipe, a student studying for a test, you are a creative worker. You have this exact same problem-solving machine built right into you. And that is the ultimate thing to remember. Genius isn't about genetics. It's not a gift. It's a process. It's the natural, designed way your mind works when you finally stop trying to jam it up with conscious stress and worry. We all have it. So I'll leave you with this thought. Your own personal, infinitely capable, stress-free problem-solving mechanism is just sitting there, waiting for instructions. What's the first problem? Big or small?